everybody, and welcome into the First and Football podcast. My name is Justin Sutton, here with my co-host Mike Rosenthal.
What's up?
We are coming to you live from Wisconsin. Myself in Green Bay, Mike in Milwaukee.
Got Justin here, Packers fan. See by the hat. I got a Packers flag here, also Packers guy. Normally I'm a Steelers guy. A lot of my references out here are probably going to be. I'm going to talk a lot about the Steelers. He's going to talk a lot about the Packers. But we like to cover every team. Big fantasy guys, so we dabble in. We watch every game. Red Zone all day Sunday.
Well, this is the first episode of our First and Football podcast. How does this feel, Mike?
I'm excited. It's nice to have somebody to talk football with. Our conflicts of schedule are a little off, so we won't get to catch every game, but at least get the bulk of the stuff halfway through Sunday night and basically all the games Sunday. I mean, so I'm excited to talk football and have our reactions to these games that happened today. Big Steelers dub, dude. I mean, AFC North is sitting first in the AFC North right now. So that's pretty awesome.
I mean, that's pretty big, man. That game was bonkers. I'm pretty excited as well for this. I got the Dallas and 49er night game here going right now on the other side of my screen. So we are definitely getting live reactions. That's for sure.
Is it in halftime right now still?
It is halftime, but they are almost done with it. So
okay.
Not sure if you want to get into the Ravens and Steelers game first.
Yeah. Let's.
All right. We'll go out of order here. Forget talking about Thursday, right?
Yeah, we do not need to talk about Thursday.
You can sum that up in like really a couple statements. The Bears are desperation mode winning, and Washington.
DJ Moore.
Yeah, DJ Moore, and the coach for Washington, Ron Rivera. He's definitely on the hot seat. And yeah, they kind of gave that game away. They had no energy. That's about it.
I mean, the Commanders, they're not even worth talking about.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I'm impressed with the Bears, the way they've been putting up offense. That's pretty much the only thing we're talking about. Their defense is dead, but their offense is something for Bears fans to look forward to. And then if we transition to the Steelers game, who doesn't know how to score, and they happen to score on did you see that George Pickens touchdown catch where he nicely pushed off of the corner?
I did. That was pretty nice. And honestly, I don't know. I think that we throw way too many flags. I wish that they would let guys play a little more like that. They do it in the playoffs, but
it was a soft push. That's why he didn't go flying back. Like George Pickens had him burned. He was going to catch that.
Yeah, I got you.
But
sorry, just my mic.
Yeah, the Steelers defense, special teams, and Kenny Pickett did come in clutch. When Kenny Pickett needs to play clutch, he's been able to drop some dimes and play clutch, and preventing the Ravens from winning against every single AFC North team away is huge. I mean, puts us on top of the division. Lamar Jackson is a puddle of mud, water, whatever.
Whoa. I got to push back on that a little bit.
When he plays the Steelers, they shut him down. He's 1-3 against the Steelers.
He looked impeccable until like the last couple possessions, in my opinion, at least from what I saw. He knew when to run, when to throw. He was making the right reads, at least from what I saw. I did not get to watch every snap of the game, but
he was impeccable the first half of the game. They scored 0 points in the second half of the game. So, and when it mattered, when Gunnar Olszewski, worst punt returner in NFL history, fumbled the ball and gave Lamar Jackson the ball in their red zone, and then they threw a pick to the rookie. I mean, Lamar, you use your legs.
Yeah.
Or the bad play by Harbaugh at the end of the first half to go for a touchdown and not kick a field goal. AFC North football, you take every point that's given to you. You can't fuck around. If you fuck around, you find out. And the Ravens found out.
They did find out. I have written down on my notes here, Ravens imploded. Pickett took a step. I mean,
the Ravens lost that game for themselves, and the Steelers defense, once again, carrying the boats.
Oh, and let's shout out for the brand. Pat McAfee would absolutely love this one. You know he's going to dial this up Monday on his show. That that the very first punt from the Ravens. Did you see that thing of beauty?
Dude, unbelievable punt.
Ooh.
Yeah. I wish that the Steelers would get back Percy Harvin. We have a backup in right now. He stunk last year, but at the beginning of this year in preseason, he was money. And it sucks that he's injured. And it's just like anytime that guy gets going, something sets him back. And
Percy Harvin.
yeah. Sorry,
Well,
what'd I say? Presley?
you said Percy Harvin.
Isn't that, is it Presley Harvin?
I don't know. Percy Harvin is the famous Florida Gator from back in
Presley
the day.
Harvin.
Okay, I'm 100% sure that guy retired.
But that stinks. But regardless, Steelers still a big question mark. Defense is good. Special teams is good. Offense, who knows what's going on? Is Matt Canada going to get fired in the bye
God, I
week?
hope so.
Everybody hopes so because they did lay a big fat goose egg. If it wasn't for that one touchdown, they didn't do anything.
Free
So,
George Pickens. That's all I got to say.
I mean, they did free him up today, 130 yards. So,
Yes, sir. That's my boy. And before we go any further here, I just want to say I do not condone the use of nicotine. However, I am a fiend for nicotine, so I do not care about recording said nicotine right now.
I got bourbon. So,
Well, drinking is definitely more socially acceptable than smoking, I feel like. So, I mean, anybody out there that's, under the legal age to buy tobacco and everything, but I mean, to buy
don't do it.
tobacco, don't
It's
do it.
addicting and it wastes
It's
money.
agreed. It's a bad life choice. Do as we say, not as we do. Okay, so that's what my old man always told me. So,
All right, let's go to the next game here. Um, I could talk all day about the Steelers, but um, we don't need to dwell on them.
yeah.
They're
Let's
still
see
they're still
here.
a big question mark.
What did you want to go through? What are some games you had highlighted, or did you just kind of want to go randomly, or?
I'm just gonna go down the list here. Um,
Okay, I don't know what list you have, but I just kind of wrote them all in random order, to be honest.
it went pretty much through the times, uh, noon games, 3 o'clock games. So actually, we really should start it off with the Jaguars versus Bills.
Yeah, the London game.
I did not get a chance to watch that. I was at a wedding last night and I had to go help clean up.
I
I caught the tail end and the Bills, man, I don't get them. It's got to be frustrating to be a Bills fan. One day they can just go off completely, and the next day they lose to the Jaguars.
I
I
mean,
mean,
they were on a pretty historic hot streak. Shout out to Rich Eisen, the Rich Eisen show. I heard a stat on there that they were literally the hottest team since the 16-0 New England Patriots. Like offensively, the way they were scoring their point differential, insane,
yeah,
absolutely insane. But yeah, to speak to that game, I didn't really get to watch the first half. I did get to see most of the second half.
yeah,
It was clear and evident that the Jags were acclimated to that time zone. Buffalo
yeah,
definitely looked like they had no energy. They were very flat, slow start. But towards halftime, they looked like they got it going, and they had something to build upon. Also, T's and P's up to Matt Milano. Hope he's all right. Never want to see anybody get air casted up and carted off the field. So that's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I don't really have much to say. I think I still like the Bills. I like the whole team. I like the fact that they have games like this. I mean, it can be frustrating, but at the same time, you know, you need to lose games. You need to go through adversity, and it helps build a stronger group. And
Most definitely. Let's see here. Yeah, other than that, I'd say it was a good bounce back game. T Law looked good. Um, Kelvin Ridley looked good. ETN looked good.
ETN looked real nice.
Yeah, I mean
And
Jags kind of seem like they're the Packers right now. They have the same problem that we do is they always play the level of their competition, whether that be up or down.
yeah, I would. I think the Jags have the higher ceiling right now than the Packers.
Most definitely. I would 12 out of 10 times take Trevor
Yeah,
Lawrence over Jordan Love right now.
I hope Trevor Lawrence can blow up. And I mean, he's obviously gotten progressively better, but
Yeah.
all right.
All right.
So
You want to go
next on the
to
docket, I got Texans versus Falcons.
Atlanta and Houston. All right.
Where were you at, Bijan? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, pretty light day from him on the box score today.
Get Algier off the field. Give the ball to Bijan. Be smart like the 49ers. They don't mess around. Christian McCaffrey, best player on the field, give him the ball.
Yes, exactly. What do you think the Colts are going to do with Jonathan Taylor the second he's back in football shape? I mean, we'll get to him later, but I
Anthony
mean, God,
Richardson. Oh, that drives me nuts.
yeah. Hopefully he's all right. I was watching that, and I mean, he's a lot bigger of a man than Aaron Rodgers, but I was watching that. And I'm like, man, that body language looks eerily similar to the two collarbone injuries I witnessed with
Yeah.
good old 12 here in Green Bay.
X-ray, nothing in the X-ray though. So they're thinking like an AC sprain or not separation, but they're gonna get an MRI here. I think they did that today.
At least a sprain. We'll see what severity the grade is, I suppose.
Yeah, the X-ray was negative, so that's good news for him. But man, a concussion. Okay, actually, we're getting off topic. Let's go back to the back to the Falcons.
Yeah, the Houston
what do
O
you got?
line was also error 404 not found. That O line for Houston was absolutely dog water. CJ Stroud is absolutely legit. I think we have finally found the very first Ohio State quarterback that's going to work in this league.
Yeah, man, he's good, dude.
I'm sorry, you can cover Desmond Ritter up with scheme and whatnot. You're never going to be able to hide the fact that he's not good. I don't think the Falcons should have won that game. Complete letdown on the defensive side of the ball from Houston, especially considering they have a defensive head coach, D'Amico Ryans. Like, dude, come on. Your defenses look lights out, and you're going to give up the game-winning drive to Atlanta?
Yeah, I mean,
to Desmond Ritter?
Atlanta's squeaking, man. Just like compare them to the Steelers, being that they're 3-2. They have some big holes on their team, and the fact that they're 3-2, they need to be happy about that.
The Packers should have beat them. In all honesty, they blew it. And Atlanta didn't win that game. Green Bay blew it. So Atlanta should have lost that game too. This was another one that they should have lost. That Houston just blew it.
The impressive part about the win for the Falcons was the fact that, unlike this game when they beat the Packers, they gave Bijan the ball. This game, 14 carries, 46 yards. Bijan didn't get the ball, and they still won.
I mean, did you see that sweet behind the back move he had though with the football?
Yes, dude, it was saucy.
That motherfucker's playing basketball out there on grass, dog.
Dude, watching that guy is so much fun.
It really is. Last note, Nico Collins is cool and all. It's a fun little experiment, but it's time to go get CJ Stroud a real receiver. If the Bengals fall out of contention here, because they won today, but they got some losses stacked up. If the Bengals, looking iffy, and you're the Texans, you got to go call on T. Higgins. Him for CJ Stroud. I mean, he's a possession receiver. Imagine what you could do with a guy who has good ball placement like CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Next level.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's going to be interesting with it. I mean, the Texans didn't expect to be this good. Who knows what their record's going to be, but man, if you're a Texans fan, you're pretty fucking happy right now.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot happier. I mean, happier than me. Even though we're on top of the division, it's just like,
all right. Yeah. Should we move to the next game here?
Yeah, Lions, Panthers.
Perfect. That sounds good to me.
Lions dropped 14 points in 3 out of 4 quarters.
Well, first of all, I'd like to talk about Chandler Zavala, their offensive lineman for the Carolina Panthers. T's and P's to that guy. He had that neck injury where he just collapsed face first on the field and had to be carted off. I mean, he was given the thumbs up on the way off the field, so hopefully everything's good with him.
Yeah.
But you ever like watch football? There was just some dudes throughout time. They just look bigger on screen, like on the field, than everybody else. I mean, Calvin Johnson. He's one of those dudes. You know what I mean? Like, there's just certain players where, you see him, you're like, oh, that looks like a pretty big football player, and then all of a sudden you see them stand next to someone else on the field, and you're like, oh, that's a big dude. Bryce Young has that exact same effect, but inverted. I mean, you see him stand next to everybody else, and you're like, oh my god, it's a toddler. It's literally a child.
Russell Wilson reminds me of that.
Oh,
he's by his lineman.
He looks shorter than Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray looks short.
How tall is he? He's 5'10".
I think the real reports say 5'9", but I mean, whatnot. Oh, Debo
ESPN.
Samuel getting loose here for a huge gain for the Niners. They're getting into the red zone here.
I'm gonna need that fantasy. These
Yep,
guys
me
have been
too.
letting me down, dude. I have Christian McCaffrey and um Tony Pollard both fumbled in the first half. I'm like, what's going on here?
Oh, you don't even want to know about my fantasy football fiasco this week. I if we have time later, we'll get into it. But yeah, I think Carolina and Bryce Young, like the team and him are both slowly improving. I mean, very slowly, but it's coming. I mean, Bryce Young is starting to do better. That O line is starting to gel a little bit. Like I'm not going to say it's coming together nicely, but it's not
Yeah,
completely disintegrating the second the ball is snapped like it was the first 3 4 weeks of the season. So they actually gave him a little time today in some spots.
yeah. I mean, they're a young team developing, getting rid of. I mean, they sold out,
But
and
let's get
the best thing for that team right now, Adam Thielen,
100%
having
that
him
yes.
be there for Bryce Young was an alpha move to get him there, and it's helping him develop, no doubt. And Adam Thielen, it's rejuvenating his career a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I mean, let's talk about the meat and potatoes in this game, though. That is the Detroit Lions. They are for real. As a Packers fan, I was pretty skeptical coming into the year. And then, we started watching preseason games. I went to a preseason game, saw what
Yeah,
Jordan Love could do against that New England defense. And I was like, maybe our absolute ceiling, if everything goes right, the ball bounces our way, et cetera, we might be able to sneak the division title. Maybe and immediately get bounced out of the playoffs. And then all of a sudden, we get to week 2 and we play Atlanta, and I'm like, yeah, no, this is not the team that I thought it was. And yeah, it's the Lions division. Minnesota, it's cute today that they hung with the Chiefs, but I don't really care what anybody says about like, oh, we hung with the champs, we hung with the champs. The Chiefs don't look right. Okay, here's a
the
little.
Chiefs aren't the Chiefs that they used to be.
Here's my hot take right now. Wow, George Kittle touchdown number 3 right now. That is huge.
You're
I had a
ahead of me, and I'm gonna need you to slow that down.
first come first serve here, bud. Side note, I had a friend today hit me up on who he should start today: Jamison Williams or George Kittle in his flex. And I recommended George Kittle, so I'm feeling pretty good about that advice. But yeah, I mean, hot take for the Kansas City Chiefs here: Patrick Mahomes is not the same without Eric Bieniemy. It does not look the same. I don't know what's going on. I don't think it's play calling. It honestly looks like discipline. Nobody is as dialed in as they used to be. And like
Yeah.
things just aren't as sharp. And
So what do you how do we relate this back to the Lions?
that it's their division, because Kansas, I mean, Minnesota, it's cute that they hung with KC, but that doesn't mean
Yeah,
anything to me. I mean, honestly,
I agree.
Chicago, Minnesota are on the same tier now, in my opinion. Chicago is elevated from whale turds to just trash, and that's where the Vikings are. Especially now without Justin Jefferson, who's got a hamstring injury. That's a big deal.
And the fact that last season they had 11, I think 11 one score game wins.
Yeah, that was obviously due to bounce back in some sort of regression. That does
You're
not
not
happen.
It's not going to happen again, and it is the Lions division to lose.
So let's talk about Justin Jefferson here a little bit. I saw a report that said he did not sign an extension that was offered to him by the Minnesota Vikings that would have made him the highest paid wide receiver, and apparently by a pretty wide margin. And he did not sign it reportedly because he wanted certainty at the quarterback position. Do you think they're going to trade Kirk Cousins?
I hate all the Kirk Cousins hate. Justin
I,
Jefferson wouldn't be in this position if Kirk Cousins didn't throw him the ball.
I think that's why he doesn't want to sign because I think he sees what a lot of people see, and that is that I've heard rumors back to last year that this year right now is the last year for Kirk Cousins. I've heard Vikings fans talking about that. I've heard random
Well,
unbiased fans talking about it. So like if
we
Kirk's
know
not going to
how.
be there, I'm sure Justin Jefferson's like, I don't want to get on a QB carousel here. I like Kirko. He'd probably rather have Kirko than not have anybody that good.
Yeah, we know how Vikings fans are. I mean,
I mean,
they hate they hate Kirk Cousins, and it's like Kirk Cousins isn't the reason you're losing all these games,
they hate Kirk Cousins because he's just like every quarterback they've ever had.
except maybe a little bit better.
Nah, the same.
Eh,
He gets
It's
them
just,
to big games, and they consistently win, and they're usually pretty relevant. But they just can't even get to the Super Bowl.
man,
The one time they
back to
did, they lost.
the Lion. Back a last note on the Lions, man. If they didn't get rid of Hawkinson,
I mean,
oof,
Sam Laporta looks better than T.J. Hawkinson, in my
it's
opinion.
true. But I mean, if they had that double threat over there, that'd be nice.
It's not 2007 anymore. I mean, rest in peace,
Yeah,
Aaron Hernandez. But everybody saw that one time, and they're like trying to replicate it or living off the nostalgia of it. And it's kind of like, yeah,
yeah.
it's a better thought than reality, in my opinion.
Eh.
But okay, let's get off that subject and go to the next game. We're getting crazy here.
Last note
Yeah.
on the Lions. I need Jahmyr Gibbs. Don't know when it's gonna happen, but dude can be like a Bijan. Get him in there. Sick of it. Sick of Montgomery.
So let's go to New England and New Orleans. Did you see that little weird incident with Chris Olave and the warmups and everything? Like he apparently tweaked
Mm-mm.
something and was working through something, and I mean it caused me to panic. And I had the Saints picked all week, and all of a sudden
Olave. I mean,
it caused
he
me to
played the game
panic
and
and
got a
change my
touchdown.
pick to New England, and they got smoked. So
You picked New England to win.
I had New Orleans all week, and then I saw that Olave was dealing with something, and he didn't look right, and I'm like, no Chris Olave on the fly in New England. I'll take my chances with the hoodie on that one, and they just looked so bad the last few weeks that I'm like, there's
So
no
you're
way that this Bill Belichick coach team can look this bad for another week. I just really thought New Orleans is beatable. I mean, Derek Carr is clearly not right. I mean, Jameis Winston probably isn't a better option right now than Derek Carr, but
yeah. I'll
uh,
shout out Alvin Kamara. Uh, came back. He's been excellent. Coming off of that suspension, just been a stud. It's nice to see him come back.
it is.
I
I
mean,
mean, it's
I
nice to see a 27-year-old ish running back. I mean, do his thing. It's also nice to watch Dak Prescott throw interceptions. That's a thing of beauty. I'm just watching another one right here. 28-10 Dallas, 6 minutes to go in the third, just so everybody's aware.
man, San
I'm sorry to
Francisco.
all Cowboys fans out there. Like you guys are literally this is another hot take. The Cowboys are literally just the Jets of the NFC East. They just have a better offensive line. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Okay, Dak Prescott's better than Zach Wilson.
I don't care. You give Zach Wilson an offensive line that good, he's probably damn near as good as Dak. And like all of a sudden they turn into like a borderline winning franchise if they get the offensive line right.
That's a hot take.
I know. I'm not going to say like winning franchise like culturally, but I mean like for the season. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I get my last note on the Patriots game. Uh, Mac Jones stinks,
oh, they're drafting a quarterback. There is no
and
doubt about that.
is our coach is on the hot seat.
I, honest to God, think that Bill Belichick might be on the hot seat, and that's really weird to say.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
Yep.
All
Let's
right, here.
see. Yeah, you can whatever you have next on your list, we can roll with
Um,
that.
Giants in Miami.
Okay. I like the little bit of hope that the Giants had at the beginning with that pick six.
Yeah, they had some really solid defense. I mean, I was thoroughly impressed with how they came
Yeah.
out. But I mean, the whole time you were watching, it just kind of felt like, all right, how long can the Giants hold the floodgates here? Because the ball's kind of bouncing their way a little bit, and it's still like Miami's in the lead, trying to pull away, and then all of a sudden, I think it was the Devon Achan touchdown, the first breakaway one, and it put them up like either two scores or three scores, and I was like, that's it, and then they just kind of ran away with it at that point.
I picked him up on waivers in a fantasy league this week, a 10 people fantasy. I said, why is he open to go grab right now? What is going on? I
That
was like,
is
I'll scoop that.
that is
And
criminal negligence. Oh
I
my
know
goodness,
they clocked Achan running at what 21 something miles an hour, and then Tyreek Hill on that touchdown running at 22 miles an hour.
crazy speed.
I don't
Just
think
oh my
I can't
god.
pedal a bike that quick.
I came into this thinking it was kind of a trap game for Miami, but I'm like, Giants going down to the Heat. They're probably going to melt, and that they did. Yeah, I think Devon Achane is for real. Um,
Oh,
the Giants.
like previous shout outs that you had. Let's hope that Daniel Jones's neck or whatever tweaked. That looked weird. His neck snapped and then he was out for the rest of the game.
I did not see the replay. I just heard about the injury.
It he got like rocked and like it didn't look right. He
Oh my
definitely
goodness,
he wobbled a little bit, so I think there was a concussion, but yeah, hopefully he's all right
that is
and
not good.
he needs to go earn his money. So he needs to be playing football.
100%. I mean, you want to talk about someone earning their money? I'd say Lamar Jackson's doing a good job. He didn't today, but I digress. So the Giants desperately need Saquon back. I mean, it is bad. They are an absolute dumpster fire on offense without Saquon. At least Saquon gives them like a glimmer of hope that they might get 2 first downs on a drive. So
I don't they're 1-4, man. I don't know. Saquon will help them, obviously.
I mean,
He's a freak athlete,
it's
but
honestly it's just all
they're
about
still not going to be
expectations.
good.
Yeah, it's just all about expectations. I mean, they overachieved last year. Let's be real. And now everybody
Yeah,
was like, "Oh, they can be a playoff team again this year." Like, no, they vastly overachieved last year. This is
yeah.
a borderline rebuild coming into it, and Brian Dable knew it. And I mean, Daniel Jones showed that he's good enough last year. The weapons he had last year were honestly everybody was just kind of somehow peaking together. And I don't think that Isaiah Hodgins and Slayton and all those guys are really all that talented. Um,
Yeah.
but it's I mean, they're in the NFL for a reason. Don't get me wrong, but they are definitely someone who should be in conversations with Cincinnati for T Higgins if Cincinnati goes by the wayside and stuff like that. I mean, they need to go get a bona fide stud.
They need a receiver, no doubt.
Yeah, they are in trouble. I
But I
mean,
mean, if you, I
Miami
guess
TCB
question for
is in
you
full
here
effect.
is if you were a T. Higgins, would you rather, actually, I think I know your answer. Are you going to go to the Texans? Or are you going to go to New York? You going to the Texans?
Kind of depends. I mean, Danny Dimes is probably a good enough quarterback to fuck it. T Higgins out there somewhere while he's getting sacked. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And like he is pretty accurate. And T Higgins is a possession receiver, so like to some degree, you don't even need to be accurate with him. And it's like if you're accurate, that just makes him that much better of a receiver to some degree.
yeah,
Um, so you get bigger fame and stardom and sponsors and all that. You might even get more money in New York. Houston will probably try to lowball you, but you do probably get better quarterback play. Um,
yeah,
I mean, I would say that the Giants are way more stable franchise historically speaking too. So that'd be a tough
yeah.
call though. I don't know.
All right. What do you got next, dude?
Let's see here. Indy and Tennessee.
Indianapolis, Tennessee. Colts 23, Titans 16. Man, I just picked up Anthony Richardson in a fantasy league. I started him over Lamar Jackson this week. He was projected more points, and I guess me being a Steelers fan, figured that they would be able to lock down Lamar, and they did. Lamar only got 9 fantasy points. I mean, they did work. See, or Anthony Richardson got 4 something before he got injured. So I think my prediction was right, minus the injury. Um, but uh, you got to wonder about a quarterback who's had a concussion and now a shoulder injury, maybe like you were saying earlier, potential collarbone. Man, those are some serious injuries in 4 games.
And they got to be happy they got Taylor back, huh? I mean,
What a
side note,
weird.
I'm happy they got Taylor back. Man, I've been holding on to this dude in my dynasty league forever. I mean, oh man, it's been stressful. So I'm just
Dude,
super happy that he got signed and he's
they put the
back.
cherry on top when they're like, "Oh, he's practicing." Then Saturday, "Oh, he signed an extension." Boop. There's your little cherry. It's like
Yes, sir.
crazy that they did that, man. It's so crazy. Like out of all the toxicity and it just seems so negative, and then all of a sudden, money talks. I guess money
I
makes
li-
problems go away.
I literally have the screenshots to prove it. I actually predicted what was going to happen the last time I was asked. Let's see here. Pulling up the screenshot right now.
Brock Purdy, 15 for 22, 3 touchdowns. That guy is legit.
So this was probably about, oh, I don't know, a week one, week two,
Yeah.
and my old man asked me, he's like, is Jonathan Taylor ever playing for the Colts again? Will they trade him by week 8? Is Zach Moss the number one running back for the year? Said I don't know what the actual answers are to those questions, but my theory is that Taylor comes back, plays for the Colts for the year, and in the offseason, they'll sign him to a deal. Not franchise tag him. They're going to sign him to a deal. So I said, as far as Zach Moss goes, I don't think he's going to be the number one running back for the year. My gut tells me it'll be more of a split workload until JT is back into football shape, and then it'll be Jonathan Taylor's job. So lo and behold, that all happened, but just not exactly to the upteenth degree that I predicted it. But my theory
Yeah.
behind that was, Jim Irsay kind of publicly made a spectacle of himself and every other NFL owner. So, I mean, I think he, number one, wanted to repolish his image and try to look like a better person. He was willing to pay like $20 million or whatever it was to, go save this fucking whale, but not pay his best fucking offensive weapon besides his quarterback. And not only that, we saw what happened to Nick Chubb. Unfortunately, the football gods took that man from us this season, but I think ultimately that is what got Jonathan Taylor paid.
Yeah.
And if you look at his guaranteed money, it's pretty much like they just took the next 2 years and took the franchise tag number and gave him that guaranteed. Like, all right, your next 2 years are pretty much guaranteed franchise money. And then third year, it's an option, you know?
Not a bad play.
Not a bad play. And they still have him
Yeah.
under contract this year too, technically. So his age 24, 25, 26, and then the option year is 27. So
And
not a
that's
bad
when
move.
stuff gets dicey.
It really does. That's when you probably go year to year at that point, unless
Yeah.
somebody's willing to give you a multi-year somewhere else. But
Running backs don't get paid, and there's a reason for it.
and it's really unfortunate. But hey,
I mean,
Jonathan Taylor is one of those elite dudes, and I think if you're an elite running back, you get paid.
you get paid in your youth right now, and then when you get older, like you said, you go to year stuff, and it's I mean, it's a business.
Yeah,
So
I would agree.
as much as you love the people and you're like, oh, this guy's got, it's like Nick Chubb happened. All
Yes, it did.
right, what do you got on the slate next? Kansas City, Minnesota.
Yeah, Kansas
Watched
City, man. That
watched a
that
lot of that game. We had that obviously broadcasted to us here in Wisconsin via
yeah.
antenna.
Um, Thank goodness that Travis Kelce is okay. I don't know what I would have done with myself if we lost another big name NFL superstar to an injury this season. I mean, I don't even want to get into the whole turf thing. I mean, it's
Dude,
2023. Let's get fucking grass in every stadium, people. But that's besides the point. Um,
that
I,
injury was so weird looking. It was like at first when you saw it, you were like, "Oh, his ankle's fine." It was just like his shoes slipped or something, and then he's hobbling, and then it's like, ah. But at the end of the day, dude's a dog.
yeah, I mean,
Wrap that shit up. I'm going to play football.
probably didn't
I
even
don't
take no
care.
Toradol. He said, "Fuck it."
Yeah, he's like, I want to feel the pain.
Yeah, that's what gets him off. Clearly. Um, I think that whole game overall was like just pretty sloppy. I noticed a lot of bad tackling, bad blocking, a lot of drop passes, a lot of
Yeah,
fumbles. I mean, like, goodness gracious.
yeah. It's like what you were saying earlier about the Chiefs. They're not as crisp. They're they're just a little bit off. But even being a little bit off, they're 4-1. Patrick Mahomes is going to win games. Travis Kelce is going to win games. They have I mean, Pacheco is their number one running back right now. But still, they got McKinnon, who was a dog at the end of the year last year. They got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who, I mean, they got people that can step in. They got an arsenal. I guess the biggest question with that team is who else is a receiver on that team besides Travis Kelce?
I think it's going to be Rashee Rice. Honestly, he looks really good, but I think he's kind of 1 year away. call me crazy. Chiefs aren't going to the Super Bowl this year. It's really hard to repeat. I don't even think they're going to make it to the AFC Championship game, to be honest with you. But Mahomes is so great that very well could be happen. That very well could happen, and I would not be shocked.
Yeah.
I think next year Rashee Rice is going to have a major coming out party. That kid looks good. Side note: San Francisco just scored a touchdown here, and they are
Yep.
really piling it on the Dallas Cowboys right now. I believe it is 35-10 in the
Yeah.
early fourth quarter.
Yeah. They should probably have handed that ball off to Christian McCaffrey. Uh, Mike needs some fantasy points. It's or Debo. I mean, come on, what are we doing here? But yeah,
Yeah,
Brock Purdy. I wouldn't even be surprised if the 49ers went undefeated and walked into the Super Bowl.
yeah. I mean, they look lights out. I mean, they walked into this game here with Dallas. They looked dialed in, ready to go. Went right down the field, scored. Dallas got the ball back, did not score. Gave the ball back. Niners, I'm pretty sure they went back down the field, scored. Dallas got the ball
Yeah.
back, still didn't score. Niners got the ball back, and then they got punched in the mouth a little bit. That Dallas defense said, "Okay, we're here, we're for real." And all of a sudden Dallas got the ball. And then I think they went down and scored. And then it's like momentum started to shift a little bit. And Niners got the ball back, scored.
They have so
They
many
they they
weapons. Who
did
do you
not give
cover?
a single fuck. I mean, they
Yeah.
you want to talk about they showed up to a heavyweight slugfest with a Glock. Like they don't
Yeah.
care. You can punch them as many times as you want. They're just gonna pull out the call an ambulance, but not for me. Bang. Like
I mean,
they could hit you from anywhere.
it's it's the age old. The Cowboys love to fold in games like this.
They are the NFC East Jets. I'm telling you. I
Speaking of
mean,
folding, well, Justin Jefferson, like we were talking about earlier, back to the Chiefs,
yes.
Vikings. That sucks for everybody. Nobody wants to see that, especially at the end of the game when the Vikings were trying to come back and win, and then you got your tight end Hawkinson out. Well, he did come back, but
Yeah.
he was out for a brief period. Justin Jefferson is out for a brief period. I love watching Jordan Addison. Big fan of him. I think he's going to be pretty good. He's going to be he's going to be a WR1, WR2.
Yeah, I think he'll be pretty solid. That's for sure. I think he'll be a high end WR2, low end
Yeah,
WR1.
yeah. That's kind of my thoughts on him too. But I mean, the Vikings are 1-4. Like we said earlier, they're not going to win 11 games, one-score games again this year, and
Yeah.
they're going to be with the Packers and the Bears doinking around while the Lions take that division.
Yes, sir. As a Packer fan, I think you're 100% right. As a Packer fan, I believe I'm also probably one of the only Packer fans that is hot take alert. I'm not really sold on Jordan Love. I could go without I mean, I miss A-Rod. I like that Clifford kid that we drafted. I mean,
Sean
he
Clifford,
looks
Penn State.
yes, sir. I mean, he looks right now as a rookie, from what I saw from him in the preseason, like he looks as good as Jordan Love right now. And Jordan Love has been sitting for 3 years. There might be a couple things Jordan Love does better.
Yeah.
But overall, I look at the ceiling and I'm like, man, this dude doesn't really have as much athletic talent as Jordan Love, I don't think, in terms of arm talent, but mentally he is extremely developed, especially for being a rookie. He looks good and
Yeah.
he's got that gunslinger mentality. He's willing to throw it. And I mean Jordan Love
Yeah.
does too, but hey, you just kind of need that from your quarterback, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, as you can tell back here, Mike is a Packers fan.
Just
All right.
predominantly a Steelers fan.
I got the Steelers Mickey Mouse over there, wherever my finger's going. And then, but I got a wall. I got Aaron Rodgers sitting here on my wall. Favorite quarterback ever.
I got
That's my
my
guy.
yeah, he is definitely my favorite quarterback ever.
Big Ben. Big Ben's there, obviously. I mean,
Oh,
but
another favorite
both of
thing ever,
them.
like I said earlier, is watching Dak Prescott throw interceptions like he just did right now. I mean, there's 14
This,
minutes to go in the fourth. It's 35-10, and the Niners are getting the ball back.
where's CeeDee Lamb gonna want to go? He's gonna want to
Uh,
leave that team.
yeah. I mean, hey, Giants, pick up the phone. see who's available.
I think
I don't think the Cowboys would ever deal CeeDee Lamb to the Giants. They'd probably castrate themselves before they do that. But anyways, let's move on to the next set of games here. Arizona and
yeah, we
Cincinnati.
got to speed her up a
Burrow
little bit
looks
here.
back. Joe Burrow looks significantly better.
Yeah, and I don't. It's hard to tell. I think the Cardinals are that good where they compete. They compete hard, and at the beginning of that or the first half of that game, I was like, wow, the Cardinals may actually beat the Bengals. Like the way they've been competing week after week after week.
Yeah, there was
Like
a moment I thought the same.
Josh Dobbs did do some rookie stuff. He's not a rookie, obviously, but he did show why he was a backup for a long time,
Yeah,
and he didn't
most
ball
definitely.
out. But yeah, Joe Burrow, it made him throw 46 times. I mean, Mixon did have 81 yards of 25 carries, but I mean, Jamar Chase finally balled out. Joe Burrow, all those passes.
Finally.
Yeah. 15 receptions for Jamar Chase. That's
Shout out to
insane.
shout out to Joe Burrow in my fantasy league. Last week I ended up in my dynasty league. I flipped Lamar Jackson to a team that was contending while I was rebuilding, along with Luke Musgrave and Rashee Rice to upgrade to Joe Burrow in my 16-team 4-player keeper dynasty league. And then as of that moment, my keepers rebuilt over the course of the week. I decided, oh, I'm going to make a run for it instead of playing for next year. So I then traded for Mark Andrews to add to my arsenal. And Joey B dropped 30 for me in my first week of a real push for a championship this week. So cheers to Joey B. I'm going to take a sip of water to that. I know you have some drink of yourself.
That is water now. The
Yes.
bourbon is gone.
Don't let the Miller Lite logo fool you. It's water.
Um,
No bubbles here.
I was gonna look. I made a bold move this week in fantasy where I decided to bench Joe Burrow, who I obviously drafted, and I put in Jared Goff. And shout out Jared Goff for getting more points than Joey Burrow,
Yeah, by about what, 3 points?
roughly 3 or 4 points.
But
But
yeah, good for him. He did it.
it's hard to put Burrow on the bench when they're playing the Cardinals.
Yeah, and this was a great
It's
bounce back game for them, and you were really wondering when it was going to happen.
yeah. I being a Steelers fan, I wasn't happy about it, but I mean, you want to see superstars be superstars, and it makes the league better.
Yeah,
So watching Jamar Chase and them ball out, especially, I mean, there's nothing more that I love when the seeing Lamar Jackson throw his helmet today, being all pissed off, Joe Burrow sucking, and the Browns doing Brown stuff. I mean, there's nothing I love more than that, but I also want to see the studs be studs.
yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I don't think the Bengals are fully back. I think that they are a average team
They definitely
with
take a step in the right direction. I think
yeah,
they have surpassed Arizona. Arizona is a tough, scrappy out. They are definitely competitive. They give me major 2021 MCDC Lions vibes.
yeah,
They are building a culture there. Jonathan Cannon has those dudes dialed in. They are playing their
yeah.
tails off over there. But I still think Cincy is like okay. Now they look like a playoff team to me. I don't know if they're still Super Bowl contenders, but they look like they could get to the playoffs and possibly win a playoff game. I'm not going to go any further than that.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase is so good. Oh my god, it's crazy.
He's good at the football. And Joey Burrow can drop dimes.
Yeah, and their offensive line, they still need to work on that.
Yeah. Joey Burrow is going to get injured again if they don't. I mean, it's the same old thing every year. Oh, we rebuilt the offensive line, this and that. The guy's going to get killed.
We literally just saw Andrew Luck retire. I swear to God, if you mismanage Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals franchise, I'm talking to you now. If you mismanage Joe Burrow, it's going to get real,
Yeah.
real fast, and
Yeah.
it's going to be real bad
Yeah, he's not going to wait.
from so many angles. Whoo. This is the greatest thing to ever happen to the Cincinnati Bengals franchise.
Chad Ochocinco, dude.
But no, Joe Burrow by far. It's not even close. Don't
God,
fuck this up.
I don't know why.
We watched the
We
Colts
got to
do it,
stop
man.
talking about the Bengals, dude. I think like Vontez Burf. I hate everything about the Bengals.
I don't hate everything about the Bengals, but there was a time when the Bengals were definitely viewed as like scumbags and like kind of dirty players. Like there was a
What's
certain
changed?
era. What's changed?
It's
NFL
still
rules.
if it's an AFC North
That's the only thing that's changed. NFL rules.
Antonio Brown's entire
Oh my goodness.
all the brain waves. I
Oh wow.
mean, all his neurological pathways have been altered due to the Cincinnati Bengals. Did you see
He's got a new expanded route tree in his head.
he tweeted
That's
something
terrible.
today. He was like, it was a picture of when he stretched his arm out over the goal line,
The immaculate extension.
and he was like, he like did like a hashtag CTE or something.
Yeah, it
All
was
right,
like
let's get
catch. Yeah, it was
moving.
like
I gotta,
catch the energy. That's what he said.
yeah,
I
I
saw
gotta
that.
get,
All
I
right.
gotta get.
Jets Broncos, the Gilligan Hat Bowl. The Broncos uniforms are cool. Russ looks elusive. The defense is so bad outside of Pat Surtain. I mean, special teams was absolutely insane in that game. I mean, it was literally the difference between winning and losing, and I don't know how the Jets didn't lose it. I mean, the Broncos had it. They had it. But the
Broncos are
Jets
really.
just, I mean, the Jets just they didn't they made fewer mistakes, I feel like.
Dak Prescott is not good at football.
Oh, did he just throw another interception?
42-10, another pick.
You know, that same friend who asked me about Jamison Williams or George Kittle. This is about to get extremely ugly, okay? He also asked me today who he should start at quarterback. Dak Prescott, and guess who the other candidate was for starting?
I mean, Purdy.
Josh Dobbs. And I told him to start Josh Dobbs because I honestly kind of thought the Niners defense was just going to make Dak's life hell and the Cowboys were going to choke in a big game like they always do. Dak Prescott is currently on his bench with 7.3, and Josh Dobbs got him 12.7. So I'm feeling good about that advice too.
I mean, that pick that Dak just threw wasn't. I don't even understand why he threw it. All right, carry on. We gotta wrap these games up so we're
It's
not
the Dallas Jets, bro. I'm telling you.
um Jets, Denver. Both these teams kind of stink. The upside for the Jets is their defense is nice.
I wouldn't say the Jets stink anymore. They are now a competitive, scrappy out. I'd say they are at least on the same caliber as Arizona right now. They're going to catch someone slipping if you don't take them serious. Zach Wilson is, I mean, to quote Rich Eisen, the light bulb is not flickering anymore. It is on. Zach Wilson was making some more plays again today, not as consistently as he did last week, but that defense that played him was a little tougher, I'd say, this last week, which made it a little more
Yeah.
impressive. But like, you know, he was a little off a little bit today, a little shaky, but once he settled in, dude, Zach Wilson was making throws. They tried to get Garrett Wilson involved. I mean, they really tried, and it's like they took him away for most of the game. The Broncos did, but they were able to get him just enough to seal that game up. I mean, that catch on like I think it was a third down, and it was like a 30-yard catch for Garrett Wilson, 32-yard reception. That pretty much sealed the game. I mean, that was huge. That was everything.
Yeah, I
I
wouldn't
think
compare them to the Cardinals. I think the Jets and the Steelers, I've said this before, same team. Defense keeps them in the game. Offense, you just have a big question mark all the time.
so. When you say you wouldn't compare them to the Cardinals, are you saying that the Cardinals are that much better than them, or are you saying that they are that much better than the Cardinals?
I think the Steelers and the Jets are better than the Cardinals.
Okay, then we are in agreement here. That shook reaction face was. I thought you were
Yeah.
referring to the Cardinals being better than them. I was about to say,
No,
get out of here.
no. The I don't know if defense wins championships anymore, but it sure as shit helps. And the Steelers and the Jets
Yeah,
defense.
it's
I mean, the Steelers would not be the Steelers would be 0-5 if TJ Watt wasn't alive.
you're probably not wrong. All
All
right,
right, what
let's
do
go
we
to a new
got?
game here. Rams Philly.
Is that our last one?
I think it might be.
I think it is, yeah.
And I mean, then we have San Francisco and Cowboys here. That's almost over. Well, basically is over. We can definitely wrap that up. But yeah,
Yeah, that
Rams and
game's done.
Philly. That game definitely felt like a heavyweight fight all the way till the end until like the Philadelphia Eagles kind of pulled away right at the end. But that was like blow for blow. It felt like a battle. That was one of the better games of the day. That's for sure.
Wish Matthew Stafford played a little bit better. Uh, I wish the offense was a little more explosive. The Rams are 2-3, but they're gonna fight anybody.
Oh
They're
yeah,
nice.
most definitely. I would say the Rams are better than the Jets and the Steelers for sure.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah, the
they don't have a better defense than those two teams, but offensively, I mean, Matthew Stafford's better than both of those starting quarterbacks.
yeah, I would agree.
And they have Cooper Cup. So,
Dude, he makes all the difference. I mean, let me just tell you right now, Cooper Cup, that dude is built different genetically. I mean, I don't know what is up with that dude with his healing powers or what, but I cannot believe that he's
yeah.
been gone for this long and he just came back and looked that dominant. It was crazy.
Did they take McCaffrey out?
Yeah, I mean, about time. But what a
Would
coinky dink. Trey Lance might get some snaps here against the 49ers. How ironic.
That would be
Um,
pretty hilarious.
one takeaway from the Eagles Rams game is literally nobody, nobody does it better than the Philadelphia Eagles, and that is the brotherly shove. That play is unstoppable when they run it, and it is crazy good. I mean, we watched how many other teams try to run it. Daniel Jones and the Giants couldn't get it done. Justin Herbert and the Chargers couldn't get it done.
Arizona did it a few times today.
Did they get it done? I didn't see that.
Successfully,
They
yeah.
did. Okay. Well, I mean,
Maybe not a few, but
it's not easy to replicate. And the fact that
yeah.
the Philadelphia Eagles, they're not just doing it on like fourth and inches and shit anymore, dude. They're doing it
Like, give
on
me a
like
long
a
one.
whole
Fourth and
full,
two, they could do it.
damn near. Yes, exactly. I mean, it's crazy. They are literally
Yeah.
just looking at you and saying, man up, because we know we're tougher than you. And they're proving it. And it's crazy.
Eagles are dogs.
They are dogs. I honestly think the Eagles could get back to the Super Bowl. I think if the Niners and the Eagles met right now, the Niners probably kick their ass. They meet at the end of the year. I think the Eagles probably win.
I don't know if they'd kick their ass right now.
Right now, I think the Niners would kick their ass. The Niners are a way too well-oiled machine right now. Way too
Yeah.
of a well-oiled machine.
God, they're so good.
They really are. I mean, hot take. I think the Rams are a borderline playoff team now with Cooper Cup back.
Oh, no doubt. They look nice. They have an
Yeah,
arsenal. You got Higbee, you got Puka Nacua, you got Cooper Cup, and you have Matthew Stafford throwing a ball. You got was it Williams, tight or running back?
Kyron Williams, correct.
Kyron Williams, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're good. Good football team.
Let's move on to the Cowboys and Niners here, and then maybe we can tell a couple fantasy stories between the two of us here to wrap it up. Uh,
I don't yeah, I don't know
Niners
how
are
much.
absolutely ridiculous. Dak is literally Kirk Cousins. He melts in any sort of big game or a primetime game. I mean, the best win of his career is probably the first playoff game he's ever won, which was against like an old out of their prime Seattle team.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, if you want to count the game against Tampa Bay last year as like the best playoff performance of his career, sure, maybe statistically, but like it wasn't of real significance. Um, yeah, I mean, my favorite part about this game was the Devonte Adams Taco Bell commercial where he had the Taco Bell in his living room. That was absolutely legendary. If you didn't see it, you have to look it up.
I did not.
It was phenomenal. That was my favorite part about this football game. It's how badly the San Francisco 49ers are just completely bludgeoning the Dallas Cowboys. Speaking of coaching hot seats, also back to earlier, I think McCarthy's going to be gone after this year. This is pathetic.
I mean, they're 3-1. They're going to be 3-2. They're just going to continue to be who they are.
I
I mean, everybody's beating the shit out of the
they
49ers are
are
beating the shit out of everybody.
they are who
That's
we thought they were.
yeah. I don't really have much to say on this game. 49ers continue to do 49er stuff. We can kind of wrap that into our fantasy little snippets here. I mean, I needed Debo to do something that's 2 weeks in a row where Debo has been MIA, really killing me in the fantasy department. And then Kyle, Kyle kicked the crap out of me this week in our personal league, but I got to give some people some wins sometimes. I dominate that league.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get them out when you can because you need to get them back when you can.
Yeah,
It's
you
karma, right?
can't, yeah, you can't go winning all the time, dude.
Yeah,
People don't like that.
it's fantasy karma. That's what happened to me last year in one of my personal leagues with some work friends. I went pretty much undefeated the whole year, lost one game, then got into the playoffs and didn't win another game, got smoked. And the dude who literally won no games the entire year, except just enough to get into the playoffs, he ended up winning the whole year, the whole thing. So
That stinks.
it was ridiculous.
Uh, Side note, I've just checked on Twitter here. Lamar Jackson, how the Steelers completely own his entire career. Um, 1-3 against the Steelers, 59% completion percentage, um, 4 touchdowns, 10 picks.
Wow, that's incredible.
They have his name. I was not looking forward to this game at all. I was mentally checked out. I'm like, all right, Canada, hopefully he gets canned and hopefully we just lay an egg.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, once again, they wrap me back in. I'm ready to be hurt again.
I think Matt Canada is out of there after this year. I don't think they'll do it in season, but I think he's done after this year.
I hope that, yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, speaking talking about fantasy stuff, I go in this off season, I felt like my team was close enough last year in my dynasty league to chase the championship again this year and kind of live in that perpetual hole of draft pick credit. And I pretty much made a move for Tyreek Hill, and then all this Jonathan Taylor stuff started. And
Yeah.
when they announced he was going to be on PUP for the year, I pretty much waved the white flag and I traded Tyreek Hill. I traded him for the second overall pick. I got roasted. Everybody was like, you sold him for a bag of chips.
Who'd you pick up?
Well, the 1.01 was obviously Bijan Robinson, and the 1.02, everybody kind of figured, including myself, was going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. So rather than take Jahmyr Gibbs, I decided to take that first round pick, combine it with my next year's first round pick, and along with a second and fourth, and I went and traded for Lamar Jackson, top 6 QB. So I'm like, okay, cool. The rebuild is on. Let's have at it.
Oh man. Oh no, they didn't give him a safety.
So I'm riding with my 4 keepers at this point: Lamar Jackson, Jonathan Taylor, AJ Brown, and I drafted Zay Flowers.
The guy that dropped the bunch of balls and tripped all day.
Yeah, the guy who had a pretty rough day.
Oh, same with Lamar.
Yeah, well, while I was in the draft, I ended up actually right before the draft, I ended up making some moves to get my first round pick for next year back, 2024, that is. And while I was in the draft, I then traded that to get into the second round because Zay Flowers somehow fell to the second round of that draft. So, any hooser, a couple weeks go by now. I'm riding with my keepers there of Zay, AJ, JT, and Lamar, and I see the window of opportunity. I trade away Zay Flowers in a second round pick, and I get Garrett Wilson. I trade away just last week LeVar Jackson and Musgrave and Rashee Rice, and I go get Joe Burrow.
Joey Burrow.
And I'm like, oh, now I got my window. Now I got Mark Andrews too to go with it. So
that's nice.
I'm trying to make a
Mark
move.
Andrews can beat. Man, sometimes they just don't. He's a frustrating dude. I usually have him in fantasy leagues. 2 teams this year I have him on, and last year I also had him on 2 teams, and I kept him in one of the leagues where I'm a keeper.
The most frustrating part about him is I picked up a tight end because I was like, well, I'm not sure if I'm going to make this move to try to go on a run. Okay, this was Wednesday. So I made a waiver claim, picked up a tight end. I picked up Logan Thomas from the Washington Commanders. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to start this guy this week. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, nah, I'm going to make the move. And I get Mark Andrews. And I'm like, well, I'm obviously not going to start Logan Thomas. So an hour before kickoff Thursday night, I bench Logan Thomas, knowing that my trade for Mark Andrews is going to come through in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews proceeds to score just about half of what Logan Thomas does this week. I mean, luckily, I'm probably going to get the dub short of an Aaron Jones 40 bomb, 40 burger, but yeah, I'm up pretty big in that dynasty league. I'm up
That's what
by
you
about
want.
30 points at least, like 35 points.
Nice.
So short of Aaron Jones destroying my life, Mark Andrews sufficed. But yeah, Logan Thomas on my bench for 16 and 7, really 16.7 really sucked.
So before we leave here, um, speaking of Aaron Jones, Packers hat, is Devontae Adams going to play tomorrow? And what is your score prediction? And then I am going to bed.
I think Devontae will play. I don't think he's going to miss this matchup. That's for sure. I hope Jair plays. I'm going to be devastated if we don't get to see that matchup because then you would get to see what practices looked like a lot.
Yeah,
My score prediction, man, honestly, I got the Packers winning this one. I think it's a nice bounce back game for us. It's going to be pretty close, but I think the Packers sneak this one out. I'm going to say this is tough. This is real tough because Packers sneak this one out 27-24.
I got 21-17. Raiders are going to win.
Raiders.
Yeah.
All right, we shall see. Is there any sort of we should have like some sort of bet here on the show, like not a board bet, but something similar, for bragging rights or something similar.
Yeah, we'll keep track of it and then get creative.
Okay,
Whoever,
sounds good.
maybe you'll take me out to dinner or something.
Yeah. Vice versa.
All right, man.
All
I
right,
gotta go to
man.
bed.
Yep, this has been a great show with you, bud, and we will catch you all next time on the next episode.